This time on Backpacks and Snacks. This time on Backpacks and Snacks. I'm going to Brazil! I think I will meet a whole lot of different people that come from a whole lot of different places. They will all be very eager to learn about the USA and all the other different cultures there, see where other people come from, and to see what other people look like. So the plane ride was really good. It was smooth. It was nice to see the clouds. It's so pretty when you look at the clouds from above because you can see the sun reflecting on them, and then just the way they look, like just the way they look is so beautiful. And then when you got closer to the ground and you could like see the ocean and then the different land masses, it really makes you think about the earth and the way it's formed. Wow, I'm in a different country, in a different continent, so it's weird to think about. But when we got in there, going through a door, we were met with our homestay family, and they were really nice. They were extremely sweet. The family was made up of a mom, a dad, and two sisters. And the sisters were really nice. One of them knew a little bit of English and the other one knew zero English, but she was like extremely excited to meet us. and she was always saying, we're gonna be best friends forever, because that was like the only thing that she knew, and she was super adorable. We went to this one place that was kind of like an ice cream shop, and I forget the name of this fruit, but they said it's like a root, and it's like extremely common, and it's kind of like had this red color, kind of like a beet, but it's not a beet, and it was like mashed up into like this smoothie kind of, so it was like ice cream, and it's pretty good actually. It has this like bittersweet taste, which I like, and it was also with like this cream, which I'm pretty sure it was just like condensed milk, but it was like really good with it. And then we went to this lake. I forget what the name of it is. It's kind of complicated. But like we went to this lake, and it had like this really old church that's like really famous. And we tried some coconut water straight from a coconut. And they were like huge coconuts, like this large. And they just cut it open, and they just give you a straw, and they're like, here, drink it. Then we went to the house, and we had dinner, and dinner was like really good. We tried this like another vegetable, and it's kind of like, it's weird to describe as well, and it's kind of like cream colored, and it's kind of like, it kind of reminds you of a potato, but like it's as skinny as like a banana, but it tastes like neither. And we tried it with some cheese fondue, and it was really good. And they also had some meat. I forget what the meat was, but it was meat. And so we had some of that, and you already know how I love bread, and they had like this bread, and you could like dip it in the cheese fondue. And they also had chocolate fondue for the dessert with some strawberries, and it was really good. I think it was like dark chocolate. It was super good. And they also had potatoes. I tried some potatoes with the cheese fondue. It was also really good. So the theme of my camp was a cultural iceberg, and that's, as you can see by my shirt, there's a little polar bear, and it says stay cool. And so the reason why it was a cultural iceberg was because you can only see the top of the iceberg usually, and it's like pretty big, I guess, and that's usually what other people see about different countries that aren't there. Campsite was in a bunch of hills, which is kind of weird. We were super high off the ground, but you didn't notice it unless you were awake for the drive, which I partially was not. And so we were not in the city at all. It was like a foresty kind of area. The air was like super dry, and it was hot. And so we had like, there was like a tangerine tree and an avocado tree and this other tree that was kind of like It was like a plant that kind of looked like an avocado. It had like cotton inside. It was weird, and like we had a like triangle sort of hotel where we all slept, and there was a little fish pond inside of it, and there were fishies, and there was like golden fishies and gray fishies and a whole bunch of different types of. The day started off with someone being delegation of the day, depending on whichever country that was, and they could wake you up however they wanted to. Most of them just banged on the doors and played like really loud music, and it was like nice music, but it was like really loud with the speakers, and they're like, wake up! So then you have some time to wake up. You probably have like about 20 minutes. They woke you up at like 8 o'clock. And then we had flag time. Flag time is where we sang the camp song, and we're like good morning to all of the countries, and then they say good morning in all their languages. But for the US and Canada, most of them, well, all of them mainly spoke English. Only one of them was like fluent in French and English, but the others kind of knew French, so we were like both English speaking countries. And it was cool, so we just had like found different ways to say good morning, and there were good morning in like all of the different languages, and it was super cool to hear. I can kind of remember a few, but not all of them. And then we had breakfast, and breakfast was composed of a lot of bread and sweetbread and fruit and cakes. And then we had cleanup time, where we cleaned up the camp, whether that be the hallways, the cafeteria, the lullabies room, or the bathrooms. Then we had our first activity of the day. And after the first activity, we had a little bit of free time where you could just do whatever you want. You couldn't go to the pool at then, but you could do like whatever you want, hang out with friends. And then we had, what's after that? And then we have lunch, and then lunch is like just a regular lunch, and then we have siesta, which is sleep in English. And so it was just a time for you to like calm down and chill after lunch. And after that, we had our second activity of the day. And then after the second activity, you had an entire hour of free time where you could just do basically whatever. Then after free time, we have shower time, where it was time to shower, and it was like the middle of the day. It was like 5, 6 o'clock, and that's weird, but eh. After that, we have delegation time, where we check in with our delegation, see how everyone's feeling. Are you okay? How did you like the activities of the day? Everything. And then we had dinner. And then after dinner, we have activity 3. So what we ate at camp. Well, I'm going to start with dinner because that's the end of the day. So what we have every single day for lunch and dinner, no matter what, is rice and beans. Yay. So it was just plain white rice, and it was like separate so people don't have to eat them together. And it was just some brown beans and sometimes the occasional like black bean. That was like only like 3 times. And so we would have, like some days we would have different types of lasagna. Like I remember once they had this olive lasagna, and it was not good at all. Not even for the fact that I don't like olives, it's just it wasn't good. It was just, there was something off with that lasagna. And then they had this other lasagna that's like really cheesy, and that lasagna was actually really good. But one thing I noticed about like the sauces that go in like the lasagnas and all the pastas, it was like really sweet, weirdly enough. And so it was like, all the pasta was like, you have some good pasta noodles with some sweet sauce and whatever else they sprinkled on there. It's kind of weird, but it was pretty good, I guess. No. So next we have like all the different pasta selections. Like they had like pasta with like herbs and meat once. That was like once or twice. We had like this garlic pasta that was pretty good actually. We had like some standard pasta, And I remember for gala night, we had this like really fancy dinner. And so for that, we had pasta, but it was like elevated pasta because it was like really good. And so first I got pasta with meat sauce, and it was like really good. And then I got some regular tomato sauce pasta for seconds. It was just really good. It was like not too salty, but not too plain. So now breakfast, the most important meal of the day. So we had like a whole bunch of bread. So they had this regular white bread that I liked. It was just a regular roll, and they make the rolls daily. So it's like good, it's pretty cool, you could tell. They had this brown bread that was like whole wheat or something. That's like the white bread, that's in rolls, but it's like shaped a little bit differently. It's really good too. They had butter out for us, and then they had a whole bunch of sweet breads. And so like I know they had this bread that was like filled with like jelly or something. I didn't end up trying it, even though I wish I would have. They had like the sweet cinnamon bread that was like in a twist, and that was actually pretty good too if you were in the mood for sweets. They had like this cheesy ball bread. It's called ponji keju. It's hard to like say it at first, but ponji keju. And so it's like bread cheese balls that are like this big, but they are baked with cheese inside of them. And so it's not like cheese is like oozing out of it like it's a mozzarella stick, but it's literally just like cheese is like infused in the bread, and it's really cool. I want to learn how to make it because however they do, it's extremely cool and it tastes really good. But like especially when they're made hot like they did, if you like split it open and put a little bit of butter inside of it, it's so good, I tell you. Everyone would just crush those. It was like just really good. And they also had like this cake. They had different types of cake. It was just regular plain cake. They would have chocolate cake sometimes. And speaking of chocolate, they had these little round balls of chocolate. It was just condensed milk with chocolate in it. And the name is it's brigadeiro, and it's like it starts with a P or a B, one of the two, and it's like pronounced like that, and it's really good. I tried it with some shredded coconut on top, and it's like it's just amazing. So it's not like it's not like hardened chocolate, so it's like still soft, and it's just so good. But they had this special soda that is native to Brazil, and it's called Guarana. So when I first heard it, I thought it was guanana, like a banana, but with a gua. But it's guarana, and it's really good. It's like it's kind of not extremely, but it's really sweet. But it's like so good. And it's not like regular sodas that we have here in America, because it doesn't taste super soda-y. It's just like fruit juice with like carbonated. It's really good though. So they also have this Brazilian dish called feijoada. So it's like a whole bunch of different types of meat piled together with like beans, and then they have like this breadcrumbs that go with it, and they also have like these greens that come with the dish, where it's kind of like a shredded kale, but it's not called kale. I forget what the name of it is, but it's really good. It's like salty and bitter, but not super salty or bitter. And it's really good when you combine everything together and they eat it with rice. So just imagine a whole bunch of different types of like sausage and pork, and then you have beans in there, and then you have like all the soupy stuff that comes with that, and then you have rice, and then you have the breadcrumbs, and then you have the like green veggies that are kind of like decomposed kale. It's like so good. We had it at camp and it was really good too. It's just like a really cool dish. During my time in Brazil, I went to Ouro Preto, or Black Gold in English, which is a very, very old city, which has like lots of mines, and it is a jewel or gems city, which is really cool. They have a whole lot of churches, and sometimes you can even see gold and crystals embedded in them. It's like very old, the streets were like very lopsided. Like when we were going down, it was like woo. And so how we got there was we took a really long bus ride, and then we went on this wooden train. It was like a really cool train. It had like wooden chairs. We were on the side of mountains and hills, and you already know how I'm kind of afraid of heights, so it was kind of scary, but it looks so pretty because you can see some houses up on the hills and everything. And while I was there, you guys already know how I love gyms, so I got myself a few, and my favorite show is Steven Universe. So here I got this really pretty, which I think is smoky quartz. I really like it. I was like, I just need to have this in my life. I really liked it. Oh, we went into this jewel shop, and they had a whole lot of extremely pretty things there, and I was just like, yes. They even had like this one statue of an owl on top of like an amethyst geode. It's like 2 owls, and it was like extremely expensive, but it was so beautiful. And also, the guy at the shop told me this was good luck. I got myself some liquid gold, like some gold flakes, and there's a red stone on top. I'm not sure what the stone is, but he said it was good luck and that I should always keep it on me. I was like, this is super cool. This is one thing I could not miss. So my time at Oro Preto was really fun. I went to a restaurant and I got like this steak sandwich, and it was actually really good. I loved the bread on it because you guys already know I love bread. And it had like these seeds on it. I think they were like sesame seeds or something. It was just really good. And they had these fried, like salty, but not really. And the meat was not super tender, but it wasn't really chewy. And it was like smoky. And it went along perfectly with the bread because the bread had like this sort of like peppery feeling to it. And it was just meshed so well together. It gave you like a smoky, bold kind of sandwich. And I was like, this would be amazing with some barbecue sauce. But they didn't have any. Okay. And so went to that little restaurant, and at the restaurant there was this guy who was playing on like this piano, and it was really cool, but of course they spoke Portuguese, so I had like no idea what they were saying, but he was playing and it was actually really good. It's like, yep. They had a gym store. We were in the gym store. It looked super cool. And like the main square where we were, there was this giant statue of, I forget who they said the guy was, but he helped in a revolution. I think that was the one that didn't work out. But yeah. It was just a super cool experience to go. And the view was amazing. Mm-hmm. So there at the camp, we were in a bunch of hills, and it didn't really make sense, but we saw like this stork or crane, like this white bird, and it was super tall, just sitting there on top of a tree, and it was super cool because that's the only one that we saw, and don't think that's normal. But yeah, it was super cool. We had toucans that flew over the camp every morning. That was super cool, and we had like parakeets that would sit there and fly around. Activity that we had what had to do with privileges, where they asked like different questions, and if you like respond, if you were like yes to that question, then you would move up. And then once they were finished with the questions, they had a race to the end of the court, and like most people who were in the front were in the court, but the lesson of it was that even though most people have different starting lines, where you live, like different people have different starting lines, and no matter where your starting line is, you can always get to the front, basically. And one of the like things was the fact that I was like in the back, actually, because like some of the questions were like, do you live with both of your parents? Do you have your siblings or something? They only asked a few questions, but I was closer. I was one of the people that were closer to the end of it, do you know more than 3 languages, or more than, do you know more than 2 languages? Because a few people there were trilingual, and I thought that was super cool. But yeah, and then they had questions that I could definitely relate to, like, are you good in school? Do you have confidence? And you already know I was like on top of that. But it's like really cool to really see everyone and like where they all come from, and see what differences you have and what similarities. What I learned from that exercise was that everyone doesn't come from the same place. Some people have more privileges, and it was really the fact of the matter of what people consider a privilege, because a few of those I was like, that's a privilege? Because I'm doing great and I don't have that. So it's a matter of more perspective, and basically that you can basically win the race of life, even though you're not as rich as this person, or even though you don't know 3 languages. For my second homestay, I went with Matilda. I know, I love her name. It matches with my name. She's from Italy, and she's super chill. She's super nice. And so we went to, well, what happened was it was open day. Before an open day was super cool. There was a booth from all the different countries. And so you tried different things from their countries, you learned about their countries, and then there were like all the homestay families came in, they came drum around, you had no idea who was your homestay family. You saw who they were and what they had and everything. Well, not what they had, they saw what you had. Then we all came into the lullabies room, and they would call out your name, who you're going with, you would have all your bags, and then you would see your host family, then we all like ended up leaving. So the weird thing with my host stay family, the first part of it, I was only with the 2 siblings because the mom was still at home. So I rode to their house with Uda from Norway and Leonie from Germany, because they were going to a homestay family together. I rode with their family and the siblings from my homestay family to my homestay house. And so the family had like this really cool car. It's like an old car, because they collected old cars. It's like a little bus. One of those really old car buses, and they said it held 9 people, and it was like super cool. It was like old too, because you could tell it was old. But the homestay family was nice. It was made up of the 2 siblings. The siblings I talked about before, a boy and a girl. They were not too old. They were only a few years older than me and Matilda, and they had their grandma living with them, and then their mom. It was super nice. It was super cool. What we did was, when we got there, they showed us we would be staying in the brother's room, because the brother was like, yeah, sure, it's fine. He's into music, and so he had like a bunch of different guitars, and he had like actual guitars in his room, and he had a little microphone and a little ukulele, and even a little miniature figurine of a violin, and you all guys know I play the violin, so I was like, yeah. And so it was super cool in there. And then what we did for the majority of the homestay actually was, so at the house, they had an Xbox. So we were playing the Xbox the entire time. So we played a game called Cuphead, which is like this vintage game, which is really cool. We played a game called Overcooked, and it's like a game where you're like a mini character, and you have to like make dishes, you have to chop the food, and you have to like give the people the food, and you only have a limited time, and that was like fun, but it was frustrating, so you only have 2 minutes to like make a certain amount of dishes, then you had to do it right, and then also there was a chance that the soup could catch on fire, and it was like a lot. So we played that, and me and Matilda even played Uno on there. And also, Matilda wants to be a singer too. And so she has a really great voice. And they had a piano there, and she knew how to play A Million Reasons, I forget who it's by, on the piano. And I would be like messing around with like the sound. And so there was this one sound, it was like a choir, with the different keys, and she played it with that, and it sounded so beautiful. And it was super fun to just like play with the keyboard, like mess around and see if I could try and play something, even though she was the one who actually knew how to play, sort of. And so it was super cool, it was fun. We also, for breakfast the next day, we had tried some Brazilian mango. Ooh. And so it was way different. It was like, it looked the same, but it was like more orange, and it was not firm at all. It was super slippery, and it was extremely sweet. And like, you expected the tart, and there was like a little bit of tart in the beginning, then like punched you with sweetness. And it was like, wow, there's a difference. And also the Brazilian pineapple, it was really different too. It was like white, and it's like super sweet, but it also has some like tartness into it too. So they're kind of like the mango, but it's like extremely good. That's one thing that I'm definitely gonna miss. And so we also tried some ponche queijo there, and it was like the same, just about. And they also had like this orange cake, and it was really good too. And they was like, oh, so you want some cake? And I was like, yeah, sure, let me eat some cake. And they also had like some bread that they had just got. And so it was super cool. One thing that I found that's weird, well, that I found about, not that's weird, but like that I found out about, is like how we usually like drink from our tap water. You can't drink from their tap water, and so they have like a water tank that has like clean water that you get out of it from. They're like, yeah, sure, you just get some water. I was like, oh, wow. And so that was super cool. And also that day, we had also watched the World Cup, because it's like a big deal, and we saw that France won, so hooray for y'all that like France. I don't really care. And so we had watched the World Cup, we had played some more Cuphead, because like the bosses are like really hard. So it takes you forever, and then you like are very satisfied once you win. You're like, yeah, I just did that. And we played some video games. The host family gave me like this white chocolate bar that was really good. It was like white chocolate, and it was a bar, and it was really good. And they gave me the little one too. So we had that, and it was just an overall really nice experience. And then they had 2 dogs. One was pipoca, which is popcorn in Portuguese. The more you know with Portuguese. And there was also Peppy, which I think was just, her name was just Peppy. And Peppy was like extremely fluffy, and she was like so cute. And then Pipoca was like, she was older, and so sometimes she would let you pet her, but other times she was like, nah, you're not gonna pet me. And so that was super cool. But our host family was very nice. At camp, I met people from Italy, China, Mexico, France, Guatemala, Colombia, Germany, Canada, Sweden, Norway, Finland. I already said China. Is that about it? And Brazil. At camp, we did this thing called trading, which is basically, as the word says, trading. So I trade something someone else wants for something I want of theirs. And one of the first things that I traded was one of my sweaters, or hoodies, for this sweater from CISB Sweden. It is so comfortable. I got 2 things from Germany. I got this headband that I think is super cute, and a flag, and like a fan flag. Ooh, I made these little decorations. What else did I get? I got these really cute bracelets from Brazil. Ooh, green, yellow, and black. I got this head umbrella, or like it's a hat with the Canadian flag on it, but it's also like an umbrella. Super cool. And I got a lot of things that I traded with China. And so I have like this little thing that I'm going to use, this bookmark. It has a little pig on it. I have this Chinese lantern. And it even came with a light. I have some of what they have called lucky money, which I think is super cool. I have this super cool trinket that I knew I liked since I saw it. Ooh. I got some chopsticks, obviously from China, because like I could just go to restaurants. Ooh. And also, lastly, I got this extremely cute bracelet. I also traded with, I also got this headband from Guatemala, which I don't have with me now, but it's also really cute. The best part of camp, for me at least, were the people. There were so many nice people there, so many faces, just everyone came together. Everyone was a little bit nervous at the start, but that's one thing that brought us all together. Camp changed me in a way that's really hard to describe. I feel like I am more open-minded about the world and all of its cultures now. I want to learn even more about everything about the world, all of its different cultures, all of the different people, because it really changes you when you meet different people about countries that you barely even thought about before, and you see how similar they are and how different they are, and to see so many people gathered in one place from everywhere else is just phenomenal. I'd love to learn more about different cultures, more that I learned about here in CISV, and some that I haven't learned about. And I'd love to travel to even more places now, meet up with even more friends from all around the world, and just be a better world citizen.
Any final thoughts about the trip?
There's one thing that I may say that's probably a little bit corny. It's so, when me and Matilda were at the homestay together, we came up with this thing where we were like, perfect dabbing opportunity. So I'd just be like, one more thing. This is a perfect dabbing opportunity. Yeah? I don't know. You said something.
Is there anything else you want to say? Anything else besides dabbing?
No, because I've said everything. Oh my god, why? Italy.
You forgot Italy.
What even is